So it seems like the orange guy who thought the war in Iran would probably last a few days, maybe a week, is going to be lasting a lot longer than he thought. I mean, there's rumors now that the US is going to be sending troops to be boots on the ground in Iran. But not only that, we now have China and Russia coordinating with Iran, with Russia apparently giving them intel, and China possibly supplies to be able to have their ships go through. I don't know. I think the orange guy thought it would just be like Venezuela, quick in and out. It's obviously not turning out like that. But I'm not going to talk about that in this video, because we have zero control of what goes on in the Middle East. But we do have control of this, which is where we spend our money. And the trend continues after 13 months. I have a report from Global, and it talks to a hotel manager or owner in Florida. And she talks about the struggles right now without the Canadians coming down. This is the same hotel owner I featured a few videos ago, and she was literally begging us to come back. Also, many of you sent me this article by CNN, and it's titled, "We Miss Our Canadian Friends. Orange Guy's Threats to Canada Hits Las Vegas." I think you're a little late on the CNN. Canada hit Las Vegas a long time ago last year, but we'll go over this anyways. And lastly, a quick report out of Washington State. Being that I'm from British Columbia, I can't pass up an opportunity to talk about Washington State. So we'll get into all of this today. Okay, let's get started, because I got to go back out and play tour guide again.
The Atlantis Hotel and Spa in sunny Fort Lauderdale is generally a hot destination for Canadian travelers heading to South Florida.
So we are a very Canadian hotel. Well, the Canadians love our hotel.
But since January of last year, the hotel is struggling to attract its usual Canadian clientele.
We're down about 4.9% in occupancy with Canadian business. So we have definitely noticed a drop.
Now, 4.9% might not sound like a lot. And, whether that's the truth, whatever. A hotel has a lot of expenses. They have to pay their employees, they have to pay their suppliers, and everything else. But the fact that she's mentioning that she's struggling on a 4.9% drop just from Canadians tells me that the profit margins are pretty tight for her. Now, I know all the haters are going to say, oh, it's only 4.9%. I thought you guys could do better than that. But let's just remember one thing. She would not be reaching out to Global, or Global would not be reaching out to her, and she would not be saying this if she wasn't struggling. So for any Canadians that used to go to her hotel, you have contributed directly to why the hotel is struggling at the moment. And if you can't remember the last report I did where she was featured, let me just remind you.
But this holiday season, it's noticeably quieter.
We are not seeing the visitors that normally come.
The hotel's biggest missing group, Canadians.
We have desperately seen a decline, and we are begging and welcoming and hoping that the Canadians come back.
I spoke with Amy Faulkner, Director of Sales and Marketing. She tells me as of July, visits to the Fort Lauderdale Hotel were down by 32% compared to the previous year. And that was only midway through 2025.
It's greatly impacted business. We're a full service hotel, so we have a spa, we have a full restaurant, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I have a pool bar on the 5th floor. So just me alone, it's affected me extremely, but also all of the beautiful local restaurants nearby and the shops. Everyone is affected.
Faulkner, it already has.
Please, to all the Canadians, we love you. Please come back.
Now, I just noticed something. The report from 2 months ago said that she's down 32%. Now, somehow, she's only down 4.2. Am I missing something here? I really don't know. But whatever the number is, you can tell 2 months ago that she was struggling. I mean, she was literally begging Canadians to come back. But I'm pretty sure nothing has changed in the last 2 months.
This recent survey from Snowbird Advisor found 70% of Canadians were planning to spend their winter in the U.S., down around 15% from 1 year prior, and nearly 25% were looking to spend the winter in non-U.S. destinations.
Now, if you've been following my channel, you know how I feel about these Snowbird Advisors or organizations. And these polls that they do for their members really don't reflect the entire snowbird industry that's happening. I've even had people that emailed me saying that they used to be former members of various different snowbird organizations, and they were given big incentives to go to the United States. So just in my opinion, I don't really think these numbers really reflect the entire snowbird industry. But let me know in the comments if you think I'm wrong.
The policies of the U.S. administration down south, the fears of safety at the border, the national pride that we have as Canadians and Ontarians, wanting to support local business.
Airlines have taken note. Air Transat, for example, tells Global News it's canceling flights to Florida for the 2026 summer season with a gradual end of operations in the spring. They say it's part of a proactive management of capacity.
The traffic levels dropped, 5% one month, 10% the next month.
WestJet has also suspended travel to 10 U.S. cities, pointing to a notable decline in transborder travel.
What the carriers are doing, they're increasing their frequency with the equipment that they have to, in fact, fly more transatlantic and transpacific.
Now, this actually kind of relates to the people that I'm playing tour guide with, because normally they would have been regulars to the United States, but they decided to fly elsewhere and, come visit me. But my point is that people are starting to make different choices when it comes to travel. Yes, it took my friend a lot longer to get here, but him and his family seem to be happy here. And they also said they're glad that they don't have to worry about anything at the border.
Travel experts say Canadians are either staying close to home or looking much further away.
International travel continues to be more buoyant than maybe we first thought it would be, given these global trends and geopolitical, situations going around us.
He warns travelers should do their research and advises booking with a registered travel agent to avoid any issues.
So it's pretty clear to me that the Canadians that do want to make a stand for Canada have already made the change. And these hotels in Florida, I don't think there's going to be any improvement anytime soon. I'm going to expect that I'll probably see that hotel manager again in about 3 or 4 months, maybe 2 months, who knows. But as for international travel, I definitely think that's going to increase in 2026. One place I know it's not going to increase is this next article I want to talk about. The article is from CNN and it's titled, "We Miss Our Canadian Friends. Orange Guy Threats to Canada Hits Las Vegas." Well, we kind of already knew that. Now, I'm not going to go over the article in detail because I think it just repeats a lot of the stuff that we already know. It talks about that guy, Derek Stevens, the CEO of the 4 hotels or whatever, basically talking about his one-to-one promotion for Canadians coming to his hotels. But one thing I want to read out here, it says, Canadian visitors to Stevens' Vegas properties, including the Circa, Golden Gate, the D, and Bar Canada, which offers themed drinks like Slapshot, have dropped by about 40% in the last year. Now, this might just be me venting and nitpicking, but why does everything in the US have to be a gimmick? Like a drink called Slapshot, geared toward Canadians, just because we like hockey? I mean, I'm wondering what other kind of stereotypical Canadian things they are promoting. Like snowmobile sangrias? Or igloo ice martinis or something? This just reminds me of that golf course guy who thought it would be a good idea to put stereotypical Canadian things on a golf ball. And he thought that would lure us down. I mean, you don't see Canadians or anyone else making a stereotypical US drink. Maybe we should make one called like drive-by shooting daiquiris or no healthcare highballs or something. I know this wouldn't have bothered me in the past, but the more I see the US exceptionalism and the luring of trying to get us back, these little things start to bother me now. And I think rightfully so that we should all be bothered by this. The article then goes on to talk about the Las Vegas mayor, who in the past, she was literally begging Canadians to come back. But we know that made no change at all, and we never heard from her again on this. The article then goes on to say that Los Angeles, New York City, Seattle, Bellingham, Buffalo, yada yada yada, they're all down. Stuff that we already know. And they also throw in the token exchange rate excuse as well. But this right here is what I actually want to focus on. Let me read it out to you. Everything is going backwards. The sharp drop in Canadian tourism has also hit workers in Las Vegas' tourist-dependent economy. Las Vegas has one of the highest unemployment rates in the nation. Christian Barnian, a cook at the Cosmopolitan of Las Vegas Casino Buffet, wakes up early at 6 a.m. every day and waits to see if the Cosmo will call him for work. But the casino needs him less and less as tourism slows down. If they don't call by 8 a.m., that means no work. Now, if I remember correctly, I think the buffet at the Cosmopolitan is the Wicked Spoon. I haven't been there since way before COVID, but I do remember it was actually pretty decent. And I do remember there was a lot of staff as well. But I can't imagine being in a situation where you have to wait every morning at 6 a.m. just to see if you get a phone call to work. Barnian, who is from Guatemala, has worked in Las Vegas casino industry for 9 years and is also a shop steward for the powerful culinary union in the state. The middle-class job allows him and his wife to purchase a home in the city. He landed work as an on-call cook at the Cosmo after he lost his full-time job at another casino on the Strip in August. Cooks are usually in high demand in Las Vegas, but he's only getting 2 or 3 days a week from the Cosmo. Now, I remember the last time I was there, I had to wait like 45 minutes, almost to an hour, just to get in. And that tells you how many people were actually going. But if you don't need the staff, then obviously there's no customers going in. To help pay the bills, Barnian took a second job at a clothing store at a mall for $13 an hour, but his hours at the store have dwindled too. He is hunting for deals on groceries, selling extra stuff on Facebook, and pampering his 3 rescue dogs and 1 cat a little less. Everything is going backwards now. Now, I don't mean to use this guy as an example, but it shows that the US tourism industry in Las Vegas just isn't what it used to be before. Would they enjoy having my money if I visited? Of course they would. But obviously, we're not going to be doing that anymore. Now, this last article comes out of Washington State, and it's titled, "Where Did the Canadians Go? The Border Crisis Hitting Washington." Now, it goes on again about the same stuff that we normally already know. Basically, less cars and there's a big drop-off. But one thing to note is that the year-over-year crossings in February of last year, which is basically when the orange idiot started ramping up the rhetoric, is down 16% from last year. So my prediction for March is probably going to be about 16 to 20%. That's my guess. Now, these are obviously lower than last year's numbers. And, last year's number in BC, I think it was like 40, anywhere from 35 to 43%. And while we're going to see less percentages this year, we always have to remember that it's comparing from last year, which has already been dropped significantly. And one more thing before I go, because I really got to go soon. I'm going to read this one out to you. Some US retailers have tried to win back Canadian visitors with special deals, but the numbers show there might be a bigger problem. As we head into the 2026 season, it's not just a matter of when the tourists will come back, but whether the close connections between Washington and British Columbia has changed for good. For now, the border is open, but the neighbors we used to welcome and their money are staying home. So I guess I have this to say to my fellow British Columbians and rest of the Canadians across the country. Be prepared for these marketing campaigns and promos to come out pretty soon. They haven't learned their lesson from last year, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be sending us campaigns again. And I do know that many of the GTL community have told these people to go shove their campaign where the sun don't shine. Now, I did see in my last video that I was getting some flack when I spoke about the Democratic candidate and her insinuating that she's blaming Canada. Many of you said that she didn't even say Canada in her tweet, but she did link an article, and that article that she linked was basically putting the blame on Canada. And this person who commented in my video, I was spot on. Let me read it out. She linked an article to the Courier Journal that talks about the issue in such a way that all the action words are Canada doing something. Like Canada is the aggressive actor. Canada took it off the shelves. Canada refuses to put it back on the shelves. Canada did this, Canada did that. The implication is there. You could interpret it as blaming Canada for deciding to take the alcohol and not putting it back. So for those of you kind of criticizing me on that, I'll leave a link in the description below so you can read it on your own. But I'm not taking anything at face value when it comes to the US government, or the officials, or the candidates. I mean, why didn't she mention the orange guy in her tweet? Why? It's because she's trying to stay neutral. She's trying to get people's votes. So if she's promoting an article like this, then I'm going to take it as she's blaming Canada. I want to thank because-RT8QS for your post, because you said it a lot better than I ever could. All right, that's all I got for this one. Just a reminder, there will be no second video today, because I'm going to head out pretty soon and go play tour guide. If you found any value or agree with anything I said, or you want to hear more from a Canadian and international perspective, without the US media bullshit, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button below. That way you're notified of my future videos. And hit that notification thing as well. I think that notifies you. Thanks everyone. I'll see you in the next one.